Hello everyone, I am Saloni Varunkar from SectionF. I have chosen the topic India's inflation and cost of living crisis. Imagine you are doing a weekly grocery run. Same list as always rice, dal, onion, tomatoes, cooking oil. But today, the total at the counter is nearly double what you paid 5 years ago. Nothing on your list has changed, everything has a price tag as it had. This is not just your experience. Across India, in cities, in towns, in villages, millions of families are stretching the same rupee further than it was ever meant to go. Let's look at the numbers. India's Consumer Price Index, the official measure for inflation, has recorded food inflation consistently above 7 to 9% in the recent years. Wages for most of the Indians have not been keeping up. The burden falls hardest on the three essentials food, fuel, and rent. And here's the cruel arithmetic. When fuel prices rise, the transportation cost goes up. So food gets expensive. When food gets expensive, household budgets shrink, leaving less for rent. These three pressures don't add up, they multiply. This is not the first time that India has been facing this. In 2013, food inflation, driven mostly by onion and vegetable prices, triggered a national political crisis. Go back further to the 1970s, and India felt the full force of global oil shock when imported inflation devastated the economy, heavily dependent on foreign fuel. History tells us that the problem is not new. What's new is the scale, the frequency, and how exposed ordinary households have become, particularly urban informal workers and agricultural wage laborers who spend 50% of their income on food alone. So, to find the root causes, why does inflation keep returning to India like an unwelcome monsoon? Starting with the weather, India's food supply remains deeply vulnerable to monsoon. An erratic season, increasingly common due to climate change, can wipe out vegetable and cereal crops within weeks. When supply crashes, prices spike almost overnight. Then there's the global dimension. India imports a significant share of its crude oil, edible oils, and fertilizers. When global commodity prices surge, as they have been due to the Russia Ukraine war in 2022, inflation is imported directly into the Indian markets. But even setting global shocks aside, there is a structural problem that India has never been able to solve post harvest losses. Nearly 15 to 18% of India's fruits and vegetables are lost even before they reach the customer, rotting in fields, on trucks, or in inadequate storage facilities. Finally, India's own growth is contributing to the demand side pressure. As incomes rise, diets shift more protein, more dairy, more processed food. Supply is not keeping up pace with the dietary transition. The result is an economic caught between unpredictable supply and rising demand, a perfect recipe for persistent inflation. None of this is unsolvable. There are real implementable policies. In the immediate term, the next 0 to 12 months, the government can deploy its buffer food stocks more aggressively to stabilize the prices during supply shocks. Targeted food subsidies directed at the lowest income households can cushion the blow without becoming a blanket for fiscal burden. And moderating fuel duty during price spikes can prevent the cascade in inflation we saw in the food and transportation cost. Over the medium term, 1 to 3 years, the priority must be cold chain infrastructure. India needs a nationwide network of refrigerated storage and logistics that connects the farmers directly to the urban markets, cutting both post harvest losses and long chain of middlemen who each add their own margin. Alongside this, the agricultural market reforms, reducing the stranglehold of state controlled APMC mandis, can allow the farmers to sell where prices are best, consumers to buy where supply is greatest. In long game, over the 3 to 10 years, requires structural transformation, climate resilient crop diversification, such that bad monsoons doesn't mean a food crisis, expanded irrigation coverage to reduce weather dependency, and a strengthened institutional framework for the Reserve Bank of India to anchor the inflation expectations. The barriers are real. States and center often disagree on agricultural jurisdiction, subsidy reforms, and face elaborate resistance. And fiscal space is tight. These are political obstacles, not economic impossibilities. Thank you.